Hello, my dear children. Welcome to our English class. Today, we are going to deal with the poem, The Ball Poem. And this poem was written by John Berryman, who was born in the year 1914 on October 25, and he died in the year 1972 on January 7. And we come to know that he was an American poet, a scholar, and he was born in Oklahoma. He was considered to be a major figure in American poetry in the second half of the 20th century and is considered a key figure in the conventional school of poetry. And his best known work is the Dream Song. And we see that he won Pulitzer Prize for Dream Songs, and he also won National Book Award. And also he was a recipient of Bollingen Prize too. As we go through the poem, The Ball Poem, we see that throughout this poem he was just describing the realities of life, and he is giving us a glimpse of losing something in life and how to generate a sense of responsibility in life. And as we go through this, we see that we get to know about the new changes that is happening in our life. Okay? And we see that he has touched the topic of how to stand up against the miseries and sorrows of life, to get along with, to cope up with, to accept the problems of life, and how to withstand with the situations in life. And all these themes were highlighted through the poem, The Ball Poem. Okay? And the poem goes like this. What is the boy now who has lost his ball? What is he to do? I saw it go, merrily bouncing down the street and then merrily over. There it is in the water. No use to say, oh, there are other balls. An ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy as he stands rigid, trembling, staring down all his young days into the harbor where his ball went. I would not intrude on him. A dime, another ball, it's worthless. Now he sends his first responsibility in a world of possessions. People will take balls. Balls will be lost always, little boy. And no one buys the ball back. Money is external. He is learning, well behind his desperate eyes, his epistemology of laws, how to stand up, knowing what every man must know one day, and must know how many days, how to stand up. This is the lines of the Ball Poem. As I told you earlier, the poet was highlighting the realities of life which everyone has to face one day. And indirectly, he is giving us the strength to face these problems in life. And we should know how to withstand all these problems in life. Okay? Now it's time for us to go in detail the poem. Okay? Now let's see the first 4 lines of the poem, The Ball Poem. Okay? What is the boy now who has lost his ball? What is it to do? I saw it go, merrily bouncing down the street, and then merrily over. There it is in the water. Okay, the first 4 lines just talks about a boy who lost his ball. The poet who is just standing and visualizing the things, he comes to know about a boy who lost his ball. And now he is thinking, what is the boy now? We see that the poet is very curious about the response of the boy. And he wanted to know how the boy will respond when he lost his ball. He was playing and all of a sudden, unpredicted, his ball just slipped from his leg or hand and it has moved. And the poet says that, I saw it go. What is it there? I saw the ball going, merrily bouncing. What is merrily bouncing? In a cheerful way, the ball is just rolling up and down. Merrily bouncing. Bouncing means what? To move quickly back or from a surface after hitting it. Okay, rolling from one place to another. The ball was very happily moving from one place to another, and now it seems to be like the ball went out of the control of the boy and it just moved over and over again, and finally it reached in the water. In the water, maybe the river beside the boy where he is playing. So you know that for boys, it was a very enticing game for them to play with balls. And in their childhood days, this ball seems to be very special for them. And that is just building up the childhood memories, how they are spending their days with other children. So the poet wanted to know how the boy is going to respond when the ball very happily slipped from his hands and it moved towards a river or near to a harbor, to a port, whatever may be that, isn't it? And the ball was just bouncing towards the street and finally it entered falling in a river. Here the first 4 lines talks about a boy who lost his ball as well as the poet who wanted to know what might have happened to the boy who lost his ball. Is it clear? Okay. So here we see that in the first 4 lines, the poetic device that is used is anaphora. What is anaphora? Anaphora, we see that there's 2 lines. The first 2 lines begins with the word what. See, what is the boy now? What he is to do. So here the word what is repeated and it's the beginning of the line. So anaphora. And along with that we see that the next 2 lines is also started with the word merrily. So the same word is repeated. The first line of the 3rd and 4th line. So one of the poetic device that is used in this first 4 lines is anaphora. Okay. Then the second one is assonance. What is assonance? Repeated use of vowel sound o, boy, now, ho, lost, o. Okay. The repeated sound o is used, and since it's a vowel sound, here assonance. If it was a consonant sound, definitely that will be alliteration. Okay, repeated use of vowel sound o, boy, now, ho, lost. Okay, and next one is imagery. What is imagery? Imagery is we can just visualize the bouncing of ball from one place to another down to the street. Finally, it ends where? It ends to the river or to the harbor. So here, as long as we can just imagine and visualize the sight of ball just bouncing, the poetic device is imagery. And here again we see that the word what is repeated in the second line. What he to do. As the word what is repeated, the poetic device is repetition. So the first 4 lines, the poet just talks about the boy who lost his ball, how the ball just went to the water, and the poet was so curious to know the mental situation of the boy. Okay, is it clear? Now coming to the next 6 lines. Okay, now the poet says that now the boy lost his ball and the poet want to know how the boy is going to respond. Okay, so here we see that the next 6 lines, the poet says that no use to say, oh, there are other balls. In ultimate shaking, grief fixes the boy as he stands rigid, trembling, staring down all his young days into the harbor where his ball went. I would not intrude on him a dime, another ball is worthless. Now the poet is talking about a boy who lost his ball. As he wanted to know about him and his reaction of losing his ball, now the poet says that it's useless to say that, oh, there are other balls. Once you lose something, sometimes you feel like you can replace. But here, as long as this boy is concerned, it's going to be a great loss in his life. That's why the poet says that when I just looked at the boy, I could see that an ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy. What is that? The boy is now filled with sorrow and he was so disappointed. Because already we have seen that the poet is so curious to know how the boy is going to respond. Now the boy is responding like he is so sorrow and he was totally disappointed. It seems to be like an ultimate shaking grief fixes the boy. That means the boy is now filled with what? Grief. Grief means sorrow. And that motion or that emotion just controls the boy as he stands rigid. What is rigid? Rigid means he was standing there fixed. He was unknown as what to do next because it was now out of his reach. He can't go and pick it up back. Maybe it has fallen into a very large river and he can't take it from where it was now seemed to be. And now the boy is trembling and he's staring down. Staring means what? He is looking curiously and he is looking down to his ball. And that reminded that all throughout his childhood days, he was playing with this ball. Now once the ball went into the water, he feels like his childhood days also went along with the ball into the water. And he could not take it back and he was standing there and looking at the ball. He doesn't know what to do. He was trembling. He was shaking, isn't it? And you can just imagine how the boy was standing there. And the poet says that, I think it's useless to say that there are other balls that you can buy. Because you know that once you get along with something in your life, you can't replace it. Sometimes that seems to be very special to you, isn't it? So the ball that the boy missed from his hand seems to be very special to him. And he finds it very hard to replace that ball. If someone buys a new ball also, he won't be happy. And he would say that, I want my ball. I want the same ball which slipped away from my hand. Now he understood one thing, I lost it forever. Isn't it? The ball in the river reminds him of his pleasant childhood memories. Sometimes that ball might have created a lot of memories in his life. And that might have given him some good old days. And now he was sure that no other balls can give that memories. And that's why the loss of this ball is unbearable for him. And he is fully filled with sorrow. And that's why the poet says that he is grief-stricken. Grief-stricken means what? He is filled with disappointment and sorrow. Now the poet who was watching that, the poet who is standing there, actually he wanted to console the boy. But he was sure that consoling the boy is useless. Because he won't come to understand that once it's lost, and if you can replace, the boy knows that nothing can replace once something that is very dear to your heart goes away from you. And here it says that sometimes you may say, sometimes others will say, it's only cost 1 dime. What is 1 dime? 1 dime means 10 cents in US. So 100 cents makes $1. Okay, and we see that the ball cost only 1 dime. 1 dime means 1 dime is equal to 10 cents. Okay, and here it says that it cost only this much. But the memories that you adore with the ball that now seems in the water will not replace a new ball. And the poet is very sure that no other ball can lessen the sorrow of the boy. And also the poet thought that it is better not to intrude. Okay, and the line says that I would not intrude. Intrude here means I would not enter into his sorrow, or I won't stand there as an invader on him to console by telling that, okay, there are other balls that you can buy for a dime. A dime means for 10 cents. There are other balls. But the poet says that I know it's worthless. Worthless means it's useless. It's useless to say that you can buy other balls for 10 cents or 1 dime. Okay, so the poet also understands that It's better to leave him all alone. It's better not to indulge in the grief the boy is experiencing. No one can replace the ball that has now seen in the water. The boy is so troublesome. Now, what the poet is just mean throughout this line here, metaphorically, the poet says that a little boy is growing up, and it just talks about how he is learning to deal with the loss of first thing he has ever held dear is pottery. For the boy, maybe the ball is something that he might have kept it with him for a longer time. And this may be the first time that he missed this ball from his hand and it lost from his life forever. And now he is learning to deal with. Now at this point of time, the boy is filled with what? Filled with sorrow. He is disappointed. He is slowly and steadily, he is trying to realize that no, I can't take that ball back to my life. That ball has gone away from me forever. Now I need to accept that. Now the poet says that the ball is a metaphor for everything that we think is dear to us. And something that is dear to our life cannot be replaced by other things, by buying new things in our life. Once it is lost, we find hard to replace it. Here, the ball is a metaphor for death. Talking about, you will see that the ball, once it was very dear to his life, now gone away. And he can't take it back to his life. You know that as we are living on this earth, we have very dear ones in our life. And that goes away from our life unexpectedly. Here also the boy didn't expect that the ball will go away from his hand. He was very enjoyably just playing with the ball with other boys or with his friends. And he never thought that I am going to miss my ball from my hand. I am going to miss it forever. He never thought. Unexpectedly, he lost the ball from his life. And now, the boy is slowly and steadily trying to understand the situation that I can't get it back. Or I can't replace this particular ball as it has got many memories in my life. It's a part of my childhood days. A new ball cannot give these memories, isn't it? So, the poet who was standing there as a witness who is just watching all these things, he says that it's better not to interfere in this situation. Let him just learn. Let him learn to deal with the loss of things from his life. This is one lesson that life is giving, isn't it? We all are just like this boy. We all are enjoying the benefits of our life. We doesn't know when it's going to get over from our hand, but we should learn to deal with it. Just like the boy who was standing there fear-stricken, he doesn't know what to do, isn't it? But he should realize that this is the realities of life. Once we experience happiness in our life, we need to regret it for later. That happiness will go away from our life. We need to cope up with the situation. Okay? That is the first 10 lines just talks about. The first 4 lines, the poet says that the boy, he happened to see one boy who is very happily playing with the ball, but unexpectedly the boy lost his ball. And the poet is standing there to see how the boy is going to respond in this circumstance. And we see that the next 6 lines, the poet says that I saw the boy, he was standing fear-stricken, sorrowfully, with full disappointment that he lost something and it's not going to come back to his life. And once he was standing there, lost in his life, the poet wanted to console, but he is not doing so. He says that no, I can't say that you will get a new one. It's not possible. You can't replace something that is gone from your life forever. It's impossible. And it's very hard to replace, isn't it? Each and every person should know how to overcome this renewal situation in life. You need to learn how life is just goes on in our day-to-day life. Unexpectedly, changes may happen. We need to withstand with this situation. This is what the first 10 lines says on. Okay? And here, in the next part of the poem, here we see that the poet is making the child realizing the realities of life. Okay? The lines goes like this. Now he senses first responsibility in a world of possessions. People will take balls. Balls will be lost always, little boy. Okay? Here, indirectly, the poet was advising the child about the realities of life. What is realities of life? What is that? Birth and death. This is one reality that's happening around the world. The vast ocean of life, there are many people who was born and many who are lost their life. So here it says that now he senses first responsibility. Here the ball is lost. So now the boy who stands there, the bank of the river, realizes that yes, I should have taken care of the ball. In a world of possession, what is possession? Possessions means ownership. One who owns one thing. We all are very possessive about our material things in this world. We are very possessive about our relationship with our father, with our mother, with our loved ones. Isn't it? So here, indirectly, the poet says that as we live in this world or in the vast ocean of life, we need to learn with the loss of our dear loved ones. Okay? The losses may be personal things that we are possessing. For this boy, this ball was something that he was keeping very close to his heart. And he always wanted this ball to be with him. That created a lot of memories in his life, or created a lot of childhood memories in his life. So he doesn't want to spoil this. But all of a sudden, unexpectedly, he lost this ball from his hand and he was standing there. So the poet says that slowly you are sensing. Sensing means what? You are experiencing what? Experiencing the first responsibility. Okay? You need to admit that the ball is lost. And you cannot replace this lost ball with a new one. Okay? And you need to bear or tolerate the loss that you had in your life. So, as long as we have time and space, try to create or try to take care of the things that are very dear to us. Okay? And here also it says that people taking away one's ball or one's ball getting lost is a metaphor for death. What is that? Here we see that this loss is a part of the game in this world. Okay? Achievements will follow losses in life, and that lost ones cannot be retrieved or brought back. And also we see that money cannot buy this lost childhood as well as the lost dreams and the lost feelings back to our life. And such thing here, that's why the poet says that balls will be lost always. And what is the balls here? Balls here means childhood. For every person, whoever lived in this world had childhood days. And once the childhood lost from their life, cannot be taken back. Okay, that's what it says that balls will be lost always, little boy. Now you lost your childhood days. And also, that childhood days is gone. And you have to consider this, you have to accept this. Another sense is that when a person who is very dear to heart goes away from this world in the form of death, you have to admit that also. Because a person who is dead and gone cannot be replaced by another person, or that person will not come back to your life. Okay? So that's why the poet just says that you need to learn how to deal with the loss of your loved ones in your life, especially the things, the personal things that you consider as a great possession in your life. Okay? And now, the next line says that, and no one buys a ball back, money is external. It says sometimes you can say that, it's only cheap for buying a ball. Already we have seen that you cannot buy back the love and replace the things that we loved once. Isn't it? That's why it says that money is external and immortal, as it cannot buy back the love and it cannot replace the things that we love. It has already gone from our life. That's what it says, that no, we can't correlate this, this relationship with money. For material things it's possible, but what about the things that is related to our heart? Then what about the things that's related to our relations with other ones? Okay? So here, and what about the childhood that you once experienced in your life? Is it possible for you to buy this childhood back in your life with some amount of money? Is it possible? No, it's not possible, isn't it? It's not possible. That's why the poet says that it's not possible. Money cannot buy things back. That's why money is external and money is immortal here. Okay? And balls can be a metaphor of childhood, and it can be said to be something that is very near to our heart, which is dead and gone. And as long as there is life, everyone has to bear many types of losses in life. You have seen around how people are just overcoming these losses in their life. Okay? The lost dreams, the lost feelings cannot be brought back with a handsome amount of money. Sometimes it can be in the form of achievements. Isn't it? So, and now what the poet wanted us here in these lines, what are the poetic devices that comes in this part? The poetic device that comes in this part is alliteration. What is that? Alliteration is the use of sound. What is it? Burr. At the start of, what is that? Buy a ball back. Here in this line, what is that? Here it says that, in this line, what is that? And no one buys a ball back. Burr is repeated. So in this part, the poetic device is one like what? Alliteration. Okay? Alliteration. What is alliteration? Alliteration is the repetition of speech sound. Okay? Alliteration is the repetition of speech sound, and here the speech sound is B. Here also B. Here also B. Okay? That's alliteration. The next one is assonance. What is assonance? Assonance is use of vowel sound. What is that? He is learning well behind his desperate eyes. Here is repeated here in this lines. Okay, so that is assonance, and the other one is ball. Ball is repeated. So here the poetic device is repetition. What is that? Here we see that this line, balls, balls, balls. Here the word balls, balls. Two balls is repeated. So the poetic device here is repetition, and there is no rhyming scheme in this lines. Okay, then what we see in the next line is, okay, here actually in the last assonance. Assonance deals with this line. Assonance is the use of vowel sound E, and this is here. What is that? He learning well behind desperate eyes. Okay, so repetition of vowel sound is assonance. So here the sound is repeated again and again. It's assonance. Okay, now coming to the next part of the poem. Here in this next part of the poem, what we see here is the poet just talks about new lessons. He is learning new lesson. He is learning well behind his desperate eyes the epistemology of laws, how to stand up, knowing what every man must one day know. And here, what we see here is the poet just talks about, what is that? Telling that he is learning well behind his desperate eyes, and the epistemology of laws, how to stand up, knowing what every man must one day know. Okay, and here the poet says that slowly and steadily, the boy, when he just lost his childhood days, the poet wants to give a message of hope and encouragement by telling that you need to stand up. You need to stand up means you need to know how to move on, how to continue your journey from this loss. And you cannot always stand with desperate eyes. What is desperate means? Desperate means hopelessness. So, okay, you cannot stand always with hopelessness in your life. You need to move on from this circumstance. You need to learn how to withstand this situation in your life. So, slowly and steadily, the boy is growing up. He is growing up from where? From his childhood situation. Now he is learning to adapt with the situation. Okay? As his innocence is slowly moving from his life, you know that once we lost our innocence, it's impossible to get it back to our life. So we need to learn how to withstand with this situation. Behind the desperate, you need not stand always with disappointments in your life, thinking about the losses that happened in your life. Okay, that is why it says that you need to move on. And here it says that you need to know the epistemology of laws. What is epistemology? Epistemology means knowledge. Knowledge of laws. You need to understand it's a part of this world's game. It's a part of this life that losses will happen. If we achieve something in our life, we must face this loss also. Okay? That is knowing every man must one day know about this. So you should be very strong enough to know about the new changes that is happening in your life. Okay? Sometimes we know that already we have seen that achievements will follow losses in life, and you need to know how to balance between achievements and losses in life. Here, the little boy is trying to learn the realities of life. What is the realities of life? Death. And that cannot be, avoided. Inevitable factor of life is death. Miseries of life is another reality of life. So you have to accept all these things. Once you started accepting all these things means you have crossed your stage from childhoodness. Now you are maturing slowly in your life. And you need to move on. Just thinking about future. Okay? So this truth or this reality of life that everyone has to learn in her life or in his life. Okay? So the misery is against the old situation. Everyone has to bear it. You need to tolerate the realities of life. Okay? Then the next line says that, and must know many days how to stand up. What is that? This line is very important as this line enables a person to stand on his feet. It gives a lot of encouragement and courage in life. Okay? It teaches us how to be strong in our life. We need to understand that this life is not for wasting for the things, thinking about the things that we lost in our life. Okay? Our life has to be lived. We have to live our life. Okay? And also we see that our life is precious. It cannot be wasted. Isn't it? And also we need to live purposefully and fruitfully. And we need to come out of what? Depression in life. Depression, disappointment, discontentment, unsatisfactory. All these are a part of our life. You need to overcome this situation in your life. Then you are gaining new knowledge and you are learning new things. How to face miseries and adversities in life. Adversities means what? Negative things that's happening in our life. And once you start accepting all these things means you are learning to be strong in life. You can face any circumstance that is coming to your life. Okay? So anyhow, this line says that and most know many days how to stand up, and it gives courage and encourage. What is that? Encouragement in one's life to stand in strong as a strong pillar. Okay? And also we see that this last part can be considered as what? As one of the most important autobiographical part. So far we have seen the poet just talking about a boy who lost his ball in a river. And the boy was standing there very disappointed, looking at the ball, thinking that no, I cannot get it back. Actually, this poem can be considered as the life of our poet John Berryman, because we see that the poet's father committed suicide when he was at the age of 11. And from that time onwards, he find it very hard to overcome the sorrow that haunted in his mind relating to the death of his father. Okay? At the time of the death of his father was jobless, and his father was getting a divorce petition or filing a divorce petition against his mother. So all these circumstances created a great pain and sorrow, disappointment in the life of the poet. Okay? So maybe he is just portraying himself as the boy who lost the ball. That's why I told you that ball can be considered as what? As death and as childhoodness. And he took much time to overcome the sorrow that affected in his life by the death of his father. You know that after many years, on January 7, 1972, the poet also committed suicide. This very same poet, John Berryman, also committed suicide after being an addict to alcohol. And his life was so miserable that he ended up his life by jumping into a river. See, what coincidence is here with the poem as well as the life of this John Berryman. In between, he has written so many poems, and he wanted to find happiness in his life, but nothing happened. And he find it very hard to see the life in its fullest. Before his death, he just advised his readers to be courageous in life. But personally, it was impossible for him to carry out this. That's why it was said that the last part of the poem is autobiographical, because the poet's father died when the poet was at the age of 11. Okay? And after many years unsuccessful life, the poet also committed suicide by jumping into the river on January 7. Okay? He faced many tribulation, or it was impossible for him to forget about the memories of his father. That's why the poet says that money cannot replace. Money is external, it's immortal. It cannot replace the things that once we lost. His mother remarried, or his mother got married to another person. He got a stepfather, but he can't accept his stepfather as his own father. See, that is another realities of life. Okay, now going on, do we see that unexpectedly we may get things lost from our life. It's our responsibility to keep things safe. And in this, throughout this poem, the boy quickly realizes that everything that he will ever own, or he is quickly realizing that everything he will ever want will be his responsibility. And also, money cannot replace everything that we lost in our life. Learning new lessons and accepting new changes is a part of growing up. Okay? And he knows that he will never again be innocent as he was before the loss of his ball. Okay? Then he will never be naive enough to feel the pressure of his responsibility. This is a very painful thing for the poet to watch. And the theme of the ball poem is loss of innocence and loss of loved ones, especially talking about the poet's father who died when the poet was 11 years of age. Okay? The loss of the ball symbolizes what? The death, as well as what? As well as childhood days. Okay? And this death may grieve us or cause depression in our life, but we need to overcome. Okay? And the resignation that the boy feels can also be felt by us, since death is not something that any man can stop or get escape from. Okay? So this is a greater message to the human human beings to understand that this is a part of our life and we need to overcome this situation. Okay, now the poetic device that is given at the what is the last part of the poem is alliteration, ball back, already we said. Then the repetition, ball is repeated. Personification is here. What is personification? What is that? The first part we see that the poem merrily bouncing. What is that merrily bouncing? Altogether we see that the poetic device altogether in this poem just personification, repetition, alliteration, and finally we see that apostrophe. What is apostrophe? Apostrophe is here the poet is giving out this poem as if he is addressing to someone, but there is absence of a listener. There is no one present here, but the poet is addressing. Here it says that a person is addressed who is either dead or physically not present. No one is present here, but the poet is giving this poem as though there is one listener. But absence of listener is very clearly specified in this poem. That's why it's apostrophe. Metaphor means balls will be always lost. Here means childhood will be always lost. It cannot be taken back into our life. Now, as we had seen, alliteration is there, repetition is there, personification in the first part of the poem. Personification is there. Personification just talks about what? Merrily bouncing. Merrily bouncing is something that just talks about what? Talks about the quality of human being that is given to the ball. Okay, that's why personification. That's all for the ball poem. Have a great day. God bless you all. Thank you.